All right, welcome to another JavaScript interview question. Now, given an array, we have to return an object that counts, hey, how many occurrences of each value there are. So for 500, the occurrences should say 3. Okay? And for Phil, it should also say 3. So here's two ways. One, I'm just going to create an empty object. And then since this is an array and we don't want a new array return, we're going to use for each. So AR.for each. Inside of for each, we're going to get access to each of the value. And for each of the value, we're going to check this obj and we're going to say, hey, if obj at the current value that we're iterating through, okay, if that does not exist, what should we do? Well, if it doesn't exist, we should give our blank object that property. So obj at value will be equal to 1 because this is the first occurrence, so its count is 1, right? And then else means, hey, this object at value already exists in our object. So then we can simply say object.value plus plus. Okay? And then down here, let's console.log our obj. Let's see what we get. Okay, we get 500 is 3, true is 2, Phil is 3, and your mom is 1. Okay. All right, now notice we can also do this with reduce. So how can we do that with reduce? So the second way is we can simply use reduce, and let me just console.log that here. So I'm going to console.log, and I'm going to go straight to this array, and I'm going to do ARR.reduce. Now remember, reduce takes in 2 arguments. First is the accumulator, and the next one is the next value. Okay, all right. So we see that reduce is this purple parentheses here, and we're actually going to need a second argument because we want it to be an object. Okay, all right. So now, since we provided a second argument, this empty object is going to be our accumulator. And for reduce, we want to return the accumulator. All right. And then here, we're going to say, hey, accumulator at next value is going to be equal to what? Well, we're going to check to see if it even exists at first. So if it doesn't exist, right, its value is going to be 1. And if not, its value is going to be plus plus. And at first, this is not going to work, and I'll talk about why. All right, so you see for each, we get the correct count, but for the reduce, we only get 1 for all of them. Why is that? Because when you do a ternary operator like this is a single expression. When you have a single expression and you have the plus plus, it's not going to calculate the value first and then display it if you have the plus plus behind the sign. So there's 2 ways we can fix it. We can either fix it with plus 1, like this, and you see we get the same results, or if you're super, super smart, you can do the plus plus in front. Because when you do plus plus in front, it's going to calculate the value, and it will display or use the calculated value first. Okay? So in this case, this would work. Okay? But if we do an if and an else, then you can use plus plus. Yeah? Make sure you know the difference. To me, this for each loop is actually more readable, but if you want to look cool with a one-liner, then you can do reduce like this. And I love reduce. It's my favorite array method. And a lot of people misunderstood what it actually does.